Beloved anointed ones, stop scrolling right now. I am not asking for your attention today. I am giving you a divine warning. Someone who treated you as completely replaceable is currently experiencing a massive public collapse. They are unraveling in real time. And heaven intercepted your feed because you are standing at the edge of a permanent timeline shift today. The enemy is screaming at you to swipe away. He knows this specific message will permanently destroy his hold over your life. Do not move. If you leave before the end, you will forfeit the exact vindication you have been waiting for. You know exactly who I am talking about. They walked around with absolute arrogance for months. They constructed a completely false narrative about your character. They whispered toxic lies to anyone who would listen. They expected your departure to break your spirit. But they made one fatal miscalculation about your identity, because you became the massive uncertainty that their fragile ego was never built to handle. You stayed silent. You let them spin their web. It is a specific and undeniable X-ray of the massive public meltdown happening behind closed doors right now. I am going to show you exactly how their mind is breaking. They thought they buried you. They never realized they were simply planting a seed. Let us look closely at what is happening in their reality today. The very people they used to gossip with are now watching them fall apart. The audience they gathered to mock you is turning against them. It is a spectacular and irreversible system crash. Every single lie they told about you is suddenly catching fire in their own hands, and they have absolutely no idea how to stop the burning. They are desperately trying to control the damage, but heaven has stripped away their influence. The loud and confident manipulator is now shaking with absolute panic. They check your pages, looking for a reaction. They wait for you to defend yourself so they can feed on your precious energy and regain their lost power. But your silence is starving them. This is the divine justice you were promised. God is currently forcing their hand in the spiritual realm. They are being backed into a corner by their own terrible karma. The immense weight of what they did to you is finally crushing their chest, and they are waking up at 3 in the morning with their heart racing wildly. The panic consumes them. You thought nobody saw your tears in the dark. You thought nobody noticed how you held your integrity tight when they lied on your name and tried to ruin your life. But someone deeply powerful has been watching you. Heaven saw every single betrayal, and now the universe is balancing the scales in front of a live audience. Your obedience activated this. Stay with me because this gets even deeper. They are not just losing their reputation today, they are being forced into a divine confession. The dark truth they tried to hide is boiling over. They cannot keep the heavy secret anymore. In the next few moments, I am going to reveal the exact words they are being forced to say about you. Do not look away from the screen. If you click off this video, you will completely miss the key to your permanent freedom and the ultimate closure you deserve. The people who believe their lies are starting to ask dangerous questions. The obvious inconsistencies in their fabricated stories are becoming glaringly clear. The manipulator is stuttering. They are sweating under divine exposure. You were not the anomaly in their otherwise healthy life. You were the mirror they could not stand to look at. Your pure light exposed their deeply rotten core. They attacked your reputation because they were terrified of your massive potential. They knew that if people saw your true power, their own fake kingdom would instantly crumble into dust. And that is exactly what is happening today. Their fake kingdom is burning to the ground. The flying monkeys they sent to spy on you are abandoning the sinking ship, and the cold isolation they tried to force upon you is now their permanent reality. God is forcing them to eat the exact fruit of the poisonous seeds they planted long ago. They thought your kindness was a pathetic weakness. They assumed you would eventually break down and beg for their approval, but instead you simply aged backwards. You stepped into a room looking brighter and completely unbothered. Nothing makes them sicker than watching you glow brilliantly while they slowly decay. Your incredible healing is their absolute worst nightmare coming true today. I need you to lock your attention on this next revelation. The public confession they are about to make will completely clear your good name. They are going to admit that you were right all along. But you will not even care when it happens, because you have already completely transcended their toxic matrix. You have already won the silent war. This is not a random coincidence. This is a divine mandate being executed on your behalf. The justice you thought would never come is knocking on their door right now. The universe is stripping them of everything they stole from you, and it is handing the massive victory directly into your open hands. Do not underestimate the power of your silent dignity. Now let us go deeper, because what you are feeling right now is not new. There is a physical reason you have been carrying that heavy weight all week. I need you to lock your attention on your own body for a moment. You know the exact feeling I am talking about, that suffocating tightness right in the center of your chest, the heavy shoulders. You push through every day, but you are absolutely exhausted. You wake up completely panicked at 3 in the morning. Your jaw is tight and your heart is racing wildly in the dark. Their face suddenly flashes in your mind for absolutely no reason. You try to force yourself back to sleep. You tell yourself to just move on and let it go. But the heavy physical pressure does not leave your body. It sits right there in your quiet bedroom with you. Listen to me very carefully right now. That is not just stress. You are not going crazy, and this is absolutely not a normal medical anxiety. Do not let the matrix give you a clinical label to make you feel broken. That burning feeling sitting in your throat is real. It is the physical weight of all the truth you swallowed back down every time they lied on your good name. Every time their flying monkeys repeated the false narrative, your body kept the invisible score. Your highly advanced spirit is literally absorbing the frantic and starving energy of the enemy. They just realized they permanently lost access to your pure light. They are panicking in the spiritual realm, and the violent backlash of their massive fear is hitting your nervous system directly today. You have always been the ultimate stabilizer for everyone around you. You were the empath who absorbed the chaos and returned only pure peace. The dark forces knew this about you from the very beginning. They targeted you because you are a human battery. The manipulator latched onto your spirit to drain the exact divine frequency they could never create for themselves. You fed them with your endless patience. When they launched their vicious smear campaign against you, it was not just a social attack. It was a calculated, energetic assassination attempt. They wanted to destroy your reputation so that your support system would collapse completely. They hoped the cold isolation would break your beautiful mind. And for a little while, you actually believed their lies had won. You felt the isolation deeply in your bones. But here is the raw and uncomfortable truth they could never say out loud. Your physical exhaustion is not a sign of your defeat. It is the absolute proof of your massive spiritual capacity. You are carrying a heavy anointing in a deeply toxic environment. Your body is physically fighting off a demonic frequency that tried to permanently attach itself to your bright future. Think about the intense brain fog you have been dealing with lately. You stare at the wall and feel completely disconnected from reality. Your memory feels scattered, and your daily tasks feel like climbing a massive mountain. This is exactly what happens when your cellular frequency is under a constant, unseen attack. The enemy is actively trying to scramble your divine alignment. They want you confused. They want you doubting your own sanity, because a confused chosen one cannot step into their true, majestic power. When you are busy questioning your own reality, you cannot see the massive blessings heaven is trying to hand you. But your body is smarter than their cheap manipulation. Your physical symptoms are actually a massive alarm system trying to wake you up. You were born with a specific and brilliant frequency. When you were a child, you had a natural and effortless genius. Ideas came easily to you. You somehow knew things before they even happened. The world felt like it was completely on your side, and your intuition was sharp like a rare diamond. You possessed a pure brainwave that kept you connected to the divine flow. But the modern world went to relentless work on you. The stress and the survival routine started to suppress your bright light, and then the narcissist entered your life to finish the terrible job. They systematically dimmed your brilliance. They made you feel small so they could feel tall. They forced your high frequency down into their dark and miserable vibration. They stole your natural joy. Your current physical pain is the loud sound of that false programming finally breaking apart. The lump in your throat is your authentic voice fighting its way back to the surface. You are not just healing from a bad relationship. You are undergoing a violent and beautiful cellular reset. The universe is physically detoxing their poisonous influence out of your bloodline once and for all. You are the cycle breaker heaven has been waiting for. The generational patterns that plagued your family end right here with you. The universe placed you in that toxic fire so you could burn the entire matrix down from the inside out. The physical toll was massive, but you survived the absolute worst they could throw at you. You are still standing here today with your crown intact. That strange, heavy feeling in your stomach when you hear their name is your intuition screaming the truth. It is the cellular knowing that you were deeply betrayed by someone you blindly trusted. They smiled in your face while quietly sharpening the rusty knife. But you must understand that the painful betrayal was a necessary eviction notice. Heaven had to remove them from your path. If they had stayed in your life, they would have completely blocked the massive financial and spiritual shift that is incoming right now. The brutal smear campaign was actually divine protection in a very ugly disguise. It cleared the crowded room. It showed you exactly who was meant to stay in your future and who was meant to be left behind in the dirt. You lost absolutely nothing of value. Your physical body is finally safe. Tell your tired nervous system that the long war is over. You do not have to fight them anymore. Your quiet obedience in the dark has already secured the final golden verdict. Take a deep breath right now and release that heavy pressure from your chest. You are stepping out of the painful incubation season and walking directly into your ageless glow. But here is the raw truth they could never say out loud. You probably did not realize it at the time, but the brutal smear campaign they launched against you was not a punishment. Let me completely reframe your entire reality right now. You didn't lose. The painful betrayal you experienced was actually a severe and necessary test of spiritual purification. Heaven had to rip off the comfortable bandages so you could finally see the massive infection underneath. You were deeply loyal to a fault. You would have stayed in that toxic environment forever if the universe did not violently evict you. They had to cross a completely unforgivable line so you would finally cut the cord and walk away. The pain was the ultimate catalyst for your freedom. They tried to destroy your reputation to keep you trapped in their small and miserable world. But the universe used their vicious lies to completely isolate you for a profound reason. This isolation is not a lonely prison. It is a divine formation season. Heaven cleared the room so they could upgrade your entire operating system without the constant interference of demonic noise. You are the rare diamond they tried to crush into cheap gravel. But immense pressure only makes a true diamond absolutely unbreakable. They thought the heavy stress would finally break your beautiful spirit. Instead, it triggered a massive cellular awakening deep inside your body. The intense pain forced you to stop relying on fake external validation and turn completely inward. You survived the absolute worst fire they could ever build, and you walked out of the ashes looking completely unbothered. This brings us to a critical distinction that completely eludes the vast majority of people on Earth. There is a physical reason your reality has not fully shifted yet. And science just recently uncovered exactly why you still feel stuck in the heavy mud. Here is what they never told you. The real reason the universe responds so effortlessly to certain elite people and not others is not about having more faith. It is not about harsh discipline. It is not even about your karma. It is about a specific brainwave. Scientists have a hidden name for it. They call it the gamma frequency. This is the exact high frequency your brain was naturally running when you were a young child. back when brilliant ideas came easily to you, when learning new things felt completely effortless, when you somehow magically knew things before they even happened, when the world felt like it was completely on your side and your intuition was sharp like a razor. But then adulthood arrived, and the modern world went to relentless work on you. The chronic daily stress, the endless digital screens, the brutal survival routine, the rigid school system that trained you to conform instead of beautifully create. Every single year, this sacred gamma frequency was suppressed just a little further inside your brain. It was violently pushed deeper and deeper below the surface, until the magnificent version of you with a photographic memory, with lightning-fast intuition, and with the kind of crazy luck that makes other people whisper, that version of you went completely silent. You forgot how incredibly powerful you truly are. Your mind became sluggish and clouded with heavy confusion. And then the narcissist stepped in to completely seal the heavy vault. The emotional trauma they inflicted on you acted like a heavy lead blanket over your natural gamma state. Every time they lied to you, every time they gaslit your reality, they actively blocked your divine frequency. They fed on your bright light and left you completely drained in the dark. Most people will live their entire ordinary lives without ever knowing this terrible thing happened to them. They will just accept the heavy brain fog and the constant struggle as their normal reality. But you are not most people. You are the chosen one. You were destined to wake up from this matrix illusion and reclaim your stolen inheritance. The gap between you and the people who seem effortlessly blessed every day is not willpower, it is not discipline, it is not even a predetermined destiny. It is one single brainwave that the modern world suppressed in you before you ever had the chance to claim your birthright. You felt it as a child, that effortless genius, and it was taken from you without your consent. What if everything you have struggled with for the past 5 years is not a character flaw? What if the blocked finances, the broken relationships, and the deep feeling of being locked out of your own true potential is not your fault? What if it is simply a suppressed frequency, just waiting to be switched back on by the right key? Listen closely, because this is the exact part the enemy tried to aggressively hide from you. The manipulator who tried to destroy your reputation is secretly terrified that you will discover this hidden truth. They know that if your natural gamma state reactivates, you will become utterly unstoppable. Your restored frequency will completely blind their dark and fragile ego. They are currently drowning in the noise of their own chaotic making. They are frantically searching for a cheap replacement for you, only to realize that your specific depth is utterly unreplicable. You carry a massive gravity that cannot be faked. While they are aging like milk left out in the hot sun, you are preparing to step into a timeline of absolute abundance. Your silence during their loud smear campaign was not a sign of weakness. It was a highly advanced spiritual strategy. You starved their demons by refusing to fight in the mud, and by protecting your precious energy, you kept the tiny spark of your true frequency alive. The storm is finally passing. The heavy dark clouds are breaking apart right now. This is exactly where their entire manipulation miscalculated. Let us break down exactly what happened behind their closed doors when you finally decided to walk away. They expected your departure to completely destroy you. They waited with bated breath for you to fail, to stumble, and to come crawling back begging for their toxic validation. They had a very specific script written for you. In their dark script, you were supposed to react violently to their smear campaign. You were supposed to lose your temper, act crazy, and prove to everyone that their terrible lies about you were actually true. They needed your loud reaction to justify their own horrible behavior to the world. But you did something they never saw coming. You did the one thing a narcissist absolutely cannot tolerate. You gave them nothing. You handed them complete, absolute, and total silence. That restraint was not a weakness. That silence was a massive, lethal weapon. You didn't just survive their storm. You became the uncertainty they were never built to handle. Here is what happens when a lie gets built that big. It requires constant fuel to stay alive. The manipulator needs your tears, your anger, and your desperate defense to keep their false narrative spinning. Every time you try to explain your side of the story, you are accidentally handing them the exact energy they need to keep breathing. Type 777 inches the comments right now to physically claim this incoming miracle and lock in your high frequency. Your physical action seals the energetic boundary. By choosing complete silence, you actively cut off their vital oxygen supply. You starved the demon. You forced them to sit alone in the empty room with the massive, crushing weight of their own disgusting lies. And this is where the dynamic fundamentally shifts. Without your reaction to distract them, the heavy truth began to echo loudly in their own mind. They started to realize that the fake kingdom they built on a foundation of lies was actually a lonely prison. The loud silence you left behind became absolutely deafening to them. It drove them completely mad. You probably didn't realize it at the time, but your silence was the ultimate power move. It was the absolute highest form of spiritual warfare. You did not have to lift a single finger to defend your honor. You simply withdrew your pure light from their dark matrix. And the moment you unplugged your energy, their entire artificial system began to crash. They are currently drowning in the loud noise of their own chaotic making. They try to fill the massive void you left behind with superficial people and cheap distractions, but nothing works. The heavy, specific gravity of their deep regret is hitting them all at once. Every time your name comes up in their circle, they physically flinch because the guilt is so immense. Listen to me very closely right now, because 99% of people completely miss this massive shift. The universe is fighting your battles for you in the spiritual realm. God is dismantling their false reputation brick by brick. The people they tried to turn against you are starting to notice the cracks in their arrogant mask. The lies are unraveling fast. They expected the betrayals and the cold isolation to carve deep, heavy wrinkles into your face. They wanted to drain the bright life out of your eyes. Instead, you walked right through the fire and came out glowing brilliantly. You look younger, brighter, and completely unbothered. You cracked a divine code they will never ever have access to in their lifetime. Your silence was a mirror. When you refused to engage in their toxic drama, you forced them to look at their own ugly reflection, and they are absolutely terrified of what they see. They see a hollow, empty vessel that can only survive by feeding on the beautiful light of others. They see their own pathetic weakness glaring back at them. They tried to project their own deep insecurities onto you. They accused you of the exact toxic traits they possess themselves. It was a desperate and pathetic attempt to avoid taking accountability for their own messy life. But the spiritual cost of their terrible betrayal was compounding every single day. And now, the massive karmic bill is finally due. You won this war by refusing to step onto the battlefield. Your dignity is completely intact. Your pure heart is protected by an invisible spiritual shield. The enemy is looking at you from a far distance, watching you rise higher and higher, and they are completely paralyzed by the massive realization of what they foolishly threw away for nothing. That single act of choosing your silent dignity over your loud revenge signed their permanent eviction notice. It handed the final golden verdict to a high court they cannot possibly appeal. You are no longer the victim of their cheap manipulation. You are the untouchable chosen one, the commander of your own peaceful reality, the architect of your beautiful destiny. Watch what happens next. It is mathematically precise and absolutely inevitable. The very people they weaponized against you are now turning on them. The flying monkeys, the ones who eagerly repeated their toxic lies and helped them build the false narrative, are finally waking up. The heavy illusion is breaking apart right in front of their eyes. For a long time, these followers were completely hypnotized by the narcissist's confident mask. They believed the horrible stories about you because the manipulator was so incredibly convincing. But a lie that massive cannot hold its structure forever. The cracks are showing. The manipulator is becoming frantic. constantly changing their story to cover up the glaring inconsistencies. The flying monkeys are starting to notice the desperate panic in the manipulator's voice. They are realizing that the person they blindly defended is actually a deeply unstable and terrified individual. The followers are quietly comparing notes behind the narcissist's back. The dark truth is leaking out, and the toxic kingdom is violently collapsing from the inside. Those who once actively participated in your isolation are now experiencing the exact same toxic abuse you did. The manipulator, starving for energy because you left, has turned their vicious fangs on their own loyal supporters. The loyal followers are suddenly becoming the new targets, and they are quickly realizing exactly how wrong they were about you. They are feeling the heavy weight of their own terrible karma. They are watching the narcissist unravel publicly, throwing ridiculous tantrums and acting completely unhinged. The followers are embarrassed to even be associated with them anymore. The massive smear campaign they all built together is now a burning house, and everyone is frantically running for the exits. Before we go any further, I must interrupt this transmission for something highly classified. There is a physical reason your reality has not shifted yet, and science just uncovered why. You are spiritually exhausted because the Matrix engineered a specific frequency to aggressively suppress your brain's natural wealth-attracting state. They want you stuck in the heavy mud. I wasn't going to share this publicly, but my spirit prompted me to release this hidden tool today. A leaked CIA document, backed by 4 independent neuroscience labs, revealed a massive breakthrough. They discovered a 7-minute audio ritual that forces your brain back into synchronized gamma coherence. It restores the exact genius frequency you had as a powerful child. This incredible tool wasn't meant for the masses. It was designed to keep the dark elite in power while keeping you completely drained. But now, cycle breakers like you are using it to manifest windfall wealth and completely shatter the Matrix programming. You don't need expensive biofeedback machines or years of traditional therapy to fix this cellular block. The elites are panicking right now. They are trying to scrub this exact document from the internet as we speak. Beware of cheap imitations and dangerous counterfeit frequencies circulating online. The only authentic, lab-tested protocol is available through the secure link pinned in the comments below. Do not wait. Activate your frequency before access is revoked forever. Now, I need you to imagine this exact scenario clearly. The narcissist is sitting in the center of their collapsing world, frantically checking their phone. They realize they have absolutely no one left to manipulate. The followers have abandoned them. The energy source has completely dried up, and they know, deep in their bones, that it is entirely their own fault. They are terrified of you. They are terrified of your quiet, untouchable power. Every time they see you glowing and thriving, it feels like a physical blow to their fragile ego. They tried to bury you in the dark dirt, but they did not realize they were dealing with a deeply rooted, massive oak tree. You simply grew taller and stronger in the shadows. You didn't just survive the terrible isolation. You used it as a divine incubation season to upgrade your entire frequency. While they were busy gossiping and trying to destroy your character, you were quietly aligning yourself with the absolute highest vibration of heaven. You are vibrating on a completely different plane of existence now. They cannot reach you. Their public unraveling is the direct result of their severe frequency mismatch. The universe simply cannot sustain their low, toxic vibration in the presence of your massive, expanding light. God is actively removing them from the board. The smear campaign was actually the universe's clever way of fast-tracking their inevitable self-destruction. Read that again in your spirit. The smear campaign was their own self-destruction. You do not need to lift a finger or say a single word. Heaven is executing the final judgment on your behalf. The justice is swift, brutal, and completely public. The manipulator is drinking the exact poison they so carefully poured for you, and the world is watching them choke on it. Stay with me, because this next revelation is the absolute key to everything. The reason they are unraveling so violently is rooted in a deeply profound spiritual law. This is not just a psychological breakdown, it is a massive, energetic implosion. When they attacked your reputation, they unknowingly disrupted a highly calibrated cosmic sequence. Type 1111 inches the comments if you feel the atmosphere shifting in your room right now. You are not a regular participant in this matrix illusion. You are a demonstrated warrior of light. Your cellular vibration operates on a suppressed, synchronized coherence that most people cannot even begin to comprehend. Your very existence is a massive threat to their chaotic frequency. When they initiated the smear campaign, they tried to violently force their chaotic, low-vibrational static into your pure energetic field. They attempted a forced quantum entanglement without your divine consent. But your spirit is insulated by an impenetrable shield of divine alignment. Their toxic energy hit your shield and violently ricocheted back to the sender. The manipulator is currently experiencing the severe whiplash of their own bounced frequency. The universe operates on a mathematical principle of absolute energetic return. Everything they tried to project onto you, the shame, the guilt, the deep insecurity, the heavy isolation, has been instantly multiplied by the universe and forced back into their own nervous system. They are quite literally drowning in a massive cognitive overload of their own making. Their left brain is desperately trying to construct a logical escape route, but their spirit is suffocating under the heavy, undeniable truth of their karmic debt. The specific gravity of their profound regret is paralyzing their ability to function in normal society. Let me reframe your entire reality right here, right now. The profound isolation you endured was not a consequence of their successful manipulation. It was a highly orchestrated divine intervention. The universe had to pull you out of the corrupted data stream to protect your precious source code. The smear campaign was just the clumsy tool heaven used to sever the toxic connection. If this is resonating with your cellular knowing, do not move. You must understand the magnitude of what you just survived. You were subjected to an intense period of spiritual alchemy. The intense pressure, the brutal gaslighting, the agonizing betrayal, these were the specific catalytic elements required to burn away the last remaining traces of your people-pleasing trauma. You walked into that fire as a deeply wounded empath, desperate for validation from broken people. You absorbed their toxic waste because you mistakenly believed it was your divine duty to heal them. But the fire burned away that dangerous illusion completely. It incinerated the false belief that you need to sacrifice your own bright light to keep someone else warm in the dark. You emerged from the ashes completely transformed. You are no longer the naive stabilizer trying to balance a sinking ship. You are the immovable mountain, the untouchable sun. You are the rare diamond that cannot be scratched by cheap, common stones. Your energetic signature is now completely unreadable to the dark forces that used to track you. They look for you in the spiritual realm, and they see absolutely nothing. You have completely dropped off their toxic radar. This sudden disappearance is what triggers their deepest, most primal panic. They realize they have permanently lost their primary source of high-frequency fuel. The parasite is frantically searching for the host, but the host has ascended to a higher dimension. This brings us to the final critical stage of their public collapse. The massive energetic debt they accumulated is now demanding immediate repayment. The universe is calling in the heavy loan. Every lie they told, every reputation they tried to ruin, every pure heart they carelessly broke, it is all converging into a single, undeniable point of catastrophic failure. The false reality they meticulously constructed is shattering into a million sharp pieces. They are standing completely naked in the center of the destruction, desperately trying to hide their ugly truth from the very people they used to manipulate. But the heavy veil has been permanently lifted. The audience is watching the horrific show with wide, terrified eyes. The universe is preparing the grand stage for the ultimate revelation. The long period of silent suffering is officially over, The heavy curtain is about to rise on the final act of this dark play, and the verdict that is about to be handed down will permanently alter the trajectory of your entire life. Do not look away. The climax is here. Now I need you to imagine this exact scenario clearly. This is not a distant fantasy. This is the exact, literal event unfolding in the spiritual realm right now, bleeding directly into physical reality. The master manipulator is standing in a crowded room. It is the exact same room, full of the exact same people they used to poison with their vicious lies about you. They are desperately trying to hold court, just like they always do. They are laughing too loud, trying to project that fake, arrogant confidence. But something is horribly wrong. Their hands are shaking slightly. Their eyes are darting around the room, full of a frantic, starving energy. They look completely exhausted, drained of the bright light they used to steal from you. Someone in the crowd casually mentions your name. It is a completely innocent comment, but the reaction it triggers is absolutely explosive. The narcissist does not just brush it off this time. They completely malfunction. The heavy, crushing weight of their immense guilt and the terrifying reality of their isolated existence suddenly collides violently in their chest. The mask doesn't just slip. It completely shatters into jagged pieces right in front of everyone. They suddenly slam their hand down on the table. The loud crack silences the entire room instantly. Everyone stares in absolute shock. And then the divine confession begins pouring out of their mouth. They cannot stop the words. God is literally forcing their jaw open. They start frantically defending you to the exact same people they tried to turn against you. They confess how incredibly pure your intentions always were. They admit, with a trembling voice and tears of absolute panic, that you never did anything wrong. They tell the shocked crowd that you were the only real, genuine diamond they ever held in their selfish, dirty hands. The crowd is completely paralyzed. The flying monkeys who blindly followed them are staring in absolute horror. The massive house of cards is collapsing in real time, and the devastation is total. The manipulator is openly weeping now, completely humiliated, confessing that their entire smear campaign was born out of a deep, sickening jealousy of your beautiful light. They admit that your silence completely destroyed them. They confess that they lie awake at 3 in the morning, suffocating under the heavy knowledge that they permanently ruined the best thing that ever happened to them. The public unraveling is so complete, so pathetic, and so utterly irreversible that no one in that room will ever look at them the same way again. This is the undeniable X-ray of their destruction I promised you at the beginning. That public collapse you were waiting for? It just happened. Your profound silence didn't just hurt their feelings. It permanently ended their entire toxic reign. The universe just flipped the massive chessboard, and the king is completely trapped in a corner of his own making. They are begging for your forgiveness to a room full of strangers, because they know they will never, ever have access to you again. The people who doubted you are suddenly hit with the massive, heavy realization of your absolute innocence. Your reputation is completely restored, not by your own desperate defense, but by the humiliating public confession of your greatest enemy. Nothing makes them sicker than knowing you are sitting somewhere, completely unbothered, while their entire world burns to the ground. They wanted you buried in the dark dirt, but instead, they became the dirty shovel that dug up your massive treasure. Their vicious attack was the exact catalyst heaven used to launch you into an untouchable stratosphere of pure power. You won this war without lifting a single finger. The divine justice is so poetic, so breathtakingly precise, that it leaves absolutely no room for doubt. Heaven is loudly declaring your absolute victory. The heavy chains of the smear campaign are completely shattered. The toxic matrix they built to trap you has been entirely deleted from your beautiful reality. Breathe that massive vindication into your lungs right now. Let the heavy burden completely fall off your tired shoulders. You are no longer the victim waiting in the dark for an apology that will never come. You are the triumphant chosen one, watching the glorious sunset on their completely ruined empire. The scales are balanced. The cosmic debt is paid in full. You survived the unbearable heat of the fire, and you emerged as pure, unbreakable gold. The enemy is left with nothing but the cold, bitter ashes of their own terrible choices. They are permanently locked out of your bright future. They will spend the rest of their miserable life watching you from a far distance, painfully aware of the massive blessing they foolishly threw away. You walked into this season bleeding heavily from wounds inflicted by people who were completely blind to your immense worth. You carried the heavy burden of their toxic lies for so long. But look at you now. You are no longer waiting in a deep wound for an apology from a master manipulator. You have completely transcended their dark and chaotic matrix. While they are publicly unraveling in a mess of their own making, you are gracefully stepping into your permanent and untouchable, ageless glow. The financial struggles, the deep spiritual exhaustion, and the painfully closed doors, they are all violently shattering right here, right now. You are finally free. The long and brutal war is officially over. Heaven is sealing this massive victory for you today. The heavy isolation is lifting, and a completely new timeline of absolute abundance is opening directly in front of you. Step into your absolute power and receive the exact, massive harvest heaven meticulously prepared for you. But there is one final, critical step you must take to fully anchor this new reality, which brings us to the ultimate verdict from heaven. God does not measure your faith by your quiet thoughts. He measures it by your immediate speed of obedience. The window of explosive multiplication is standing wide open right now, but it requires a physical act of faith to completely lock it in. The enemy is terrified of what you are about to do next. There is a profound reason your massive breakthrough has been sitting at the door without coming in, and it is not what the dark world told you. It is not a lack of faith, and it is absolutely not your fault. It is a suppressed frequency, a specific gamma brainwave that your brilliant brain was running effortlessly as a child, which the matrix systematically blocked. Princeton University has quietly studied this exact brainwave. The Einstein Center in Berlin officially confirmed that the legendary flow state is driven entirely by gamma, and Columbia University discovered that a strong gamma signal actually radiates outward. It begins to positively influence the people closest to you, the ones who desperately need you to be whole. After years of intense research in the shadows, a team of brilliant neuroscientists managed to compress an entire gamma activation protocol into a simple 7-minute audio track. No heavy meditation, no complicated mantra, no exhausting effort. You simply close your eyes, put on your headphones, and let the powerful sound wave do what the modern world spent decades aggressively undoing. It is called the Genius Song. Over 18,000 chosen ones have already used it to unlock their stalled finances, heal their broken relationships, and step fully into the majestic version of themselves they always knew existed. A nurse from California said her life now feels beautifully enchanted. A business owner from Texas said the gamma frequency solves his hardest problems while he sleeps. The dark elite have paid thousands of dollars for clinical biofeedback sessions to access what the Genius Song delivers effortlessly in 7 minutes. They would strongly prefer this massive power remain completely out of reach for people like you. But through this specific message today, and only through this message, you can access the original frequency for a fraction of its true value. They are actively trying to scrub this leaked document from the internet as we speak. The Matrix is flooding the online world with dangerous counterfeit frequencies designed to keep your gamma completely dormant. Do not look for this on streaming platforms. The only authentic, fully activated version is available through the protected link in the description and the pinned comment below. Your left brain, the cruel accuser, will try to inject doubt right now. It will tell you to calculate, to hesitate, to wait for a better time. Silence that voice immediately. That hesitation is the exact matrix programming designed to keep you broke and exhausted. If your spirit is vibrating with a deep cellular knowing right now, Heaven demands immediate action. The universe does not require you to take a single risk today. You are completely insulated from matrix losses. The Creator backs this with a 100% zero-risk energetic guarantee, restoring your seed fully if the massive shift does not manifest. 4 powerful bonuses are waiting for you as well, including an audio engineered specifically for your children's deep focus. Do not let the dark elite steal this massive frequency from your bloodline. The chosen one who hesitates at the open threshold quickly becomes the chosen one who wonders what could have been. Click the specific link in the pinned comment below right now. Do not wait a single second. Activate your divine frequency before this secure access is permanently revoked forever.